afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. That's better. How are you doing?
Good.
Good. How's your day been so far?
Yes.
Good. Have you made new connections?
Yes.
Have you had coffee?
Yes. Yeah.
Ready for lunch?
Yes.
Okay, so you have to be good to me so I can be good to you and let you go for lunch, otherwise I'll keep you here. Alright, we'll get started. Right, welcome to Marketing Made Simple, People, Technology and the Future of Selling. We know marketing can feel overwhelming, new tools, new platforms, AI everywhere, and as SME owners, we don't have time to waste. But here's the exciting part. Marketing doesn't have to be complicated, and done right, it can actually make your business grow faster, smarter, and more human. Today, we're going to cut through the noise. We've got a panel of experts who know what works for small and medium businesses like yours and mine. We've got marketing expert Lydia Mckeown, who knows how to simplify your marketing strategy without losing results. We've got community expert Lucy Hall, who will show us how to turn audiences into loyal advocates. And we've got people and selling expert John Lovell, who I thought was an AI guy, but he's real, so who will explain how to sell with confidence and authenticity. Together, they'll share practical strategies, real-life examples, and ideas you can start using immediately. So have your notebooks ready. All well, we will see if we can get some questions in at the end of the session. So do write your questions down. If we have time, we'll take them. Otherwise, at the end of the session, you can catch up with us after the panel. So let's get started. I'll let you introduce yourselves briefly, who you are, what you do. 30 seconds each.
Hi everyone, I'm John Lovell. I'm the male up here, just in case you're wondering. So my background is typically retail. I spent 20 years in the automotive sector, working for brands like Bentley, Lamborghini, Jaguar and Land Rover, amongst others. In COVID I came out of that and we owned and ran a contact centre for both inbound and outbound call handling and inquiry handling services, which we were fortunate enough to sell last year, and I now consult on sales processes and people management, all to drive more positive results more often.
Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Lydia Mckeown. I'm director and founder of a marketing agency based in Kent. It's called We Do Marketing, and we work with businesses throughout the UK to help align their marketing activities to their strategic business goals, and we act as outsourced marketing managers. I've been in marketing around 15 years. I'm a chartered marketer and enjoy working with businesses who have got marketing challenges for us to solve.
Hi everyone, my name's Lucy Hall and I'm founder of a media company called Social Game Limited, which incorporates communities such as Digital Women and Social Day for the digital marketing, social media industries. And that's it really. Nothing else.
Okay. I'm Blessing Anakino, and I'm the founder and CEO of Blé Global. I'm a value realization partner. So what I do is I help de-risk growth. So when organizations grow, whether it's through acquisition or mergers, I come in to help de-risk that growth, making sure that they are performance ready to deliver on the next stage. So we've got experts here, not me. I'm just here to ask them the questions and get the juicy bits out of them. So let's pay attention. Like I said, make some notes. If you've got any questions, please ask. I'm hoping that our funnel can be up on the screen, but when it doesn't, here's what I prepared earlier, just in case. You can never prepare for, tech. So that's a marketing funnel, is that right?
That's right, that is a marketing funnel.
So we're going to try and decode this. Have you heard about funnels before? In marketing, yeah. So I challenge them with that task to make it practical for us. So we do have a funnel. You can take a picture of it if you can and zoom in and so you can see what parts, because that's what we're going to be talking through.
Has anybody seen one of these before? Hands up if you've seen one. Oh, that's good. Hands up if you haven't.
Okay. Right, so that's what we're doing today. So my first question is for Lydia. Can you explain to us about the funnel on the imaginary screen?
Yes. So top of the funnel is all about your awareness. So the activities that you do.
Hey, well done.
Yeah, top of the funnel is brand awareness, all of the activities that you're going to do in order to get you in front of audiences. And you can be quite selective with those audiences, which which we'll come on to shortly. Next up is your conversion, so who you actually convert and how they move through your funnel. Then, oh sorry, what have we got? No, sorry, chat rubbish. Top awareness, and then they move into consideration. I do this all the time, but we're all good on stage, aren't we? Considerations, where they make the choice whether they're going to choose you over a competitor. And you can do various things in your marketing activities to help them along the way when they're considering you. Trust signals on your website, reviews, case studies, client testimonials are all really good examples of conversion, where you move into conversion, where you actually choose to work with somebody over a competitor. That's now on to conversion, where we kind of the transactional stuff. So where they become a customer. After that is when they become a brand advocate. So they're talking about you to other people, and they're also referring other business to you, or they come back to you for more repeat business ultimately. So that's the funnel in a nutshell.
Okay, thank you for that. Right, there's a need to simplify what we're doing because there's too much noise out there. Too many tools, like I mentioned, to choose from, too many platforms and strategies, and there's an A to Z of something, and there's a 7 steps to 20 steps, and I don't know, it's all a kerfuffle for me. But coming to you, Lucy. Now we know that audiences can convert into customers, but do we really need to build communities to be successful? Do SMEs really need a community, or is that just a buzzword?
Okay, I just want to see what the appetite is like first for this. So is everyone trying to build a community? Hands up if you're trying to build a community. Hands up if you want to build a community. Nobody wants, a couple of people want to. Okay, and is it because you've heard that community is the way that you can sell more and build your business bigger and all that kind of thing? Okay, cool. Okay, I've built several communities over the years. One of them is Digital Women. Has anyone heard of Digital Women? I've got a couple of Digital Women in here, yeah. Hello. A Digital Women, which is a community for women who are learning digital skills, learning from each other, that kind of thing, digital marketing primarily. And then one is Social Media, which is Social Media Marketing Festival, and for social media marketing community brand agencies. But I built those communities over years and years and years and years and years to just, first of all, I created them, not with a business, I need to make money out of these people, it was just because I wanted to help them and support them, and they became a community aside from me. Now, everybody's like, you have to build a community, you need to build a community. Why do you need to build a community? It takes a lot of time and a lot of effort to build a community, and that community is not necessarily going to buy anything from you, you're just building a lot of community of people talking to each other. So do you want to build an audience of people who follow you and want to buy from you, or do you want to build a community? That's the question you need to ask yourself, because if you think you're going to build a community and then monetize that community, it's a lot harder than you think it is, and also you're going to feel very connected to that community, and you're going to want to protect them. You're not going to want to have people selling to them, and you're not going to want to be selling to them yourself. So, do you need to build a community? That's my question back to you to think about. Do you need to build a community, or do you need to build an audience?
Interesting. So there's a difference? Is that what you're saying?
No, there's a difference, yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't think of it that way, but good point. Okay, so action point. We need to decide, are we looking to build an audience, or are we looking to build a community? So I suppose if you're looking to build a community, that's a different piece of work. That's like
Completely different, yeah.
Side hustle on its own.
Yes, it's its own thing.
Interesting.
A lot of work.
Okay. So coming back to you, Lydia. Considering Lucy is suggesting we find new audiences, widening our reach, what's the fastest way to turn the new audience into customers?
I think this is all about simplifying. So if you think of your core audience as orange, and your whole orange is everybody that you could market to. Inside that orange you've got individual segments, they're your customer groups. Inside that you've got all those juicy bits, and they're the people in those groups. And if you focus on the whole orange, your message can get lost because you're trying to talk to too many groups at once. What you need to do is focus on one segment, and this is what Marketing Made Simple is all about. Focus, your message and the channels that you're on to one of those audiences and think about them. Master that audience group first and that segment, and then start to build in and look at more of the segments within that orange, because your message needs to land with them to be able to engage them and to be able to work through that funnel that we spoke about earlier, and your message will go so much further and hit a lot harder if you're focusing all of your energy on one group. There's so many platforms, so many approaches, so many strategies, so much we could talk about, but to make it simple, I think going away from here today is do some research into who that group is for you. And I was saying this earlier, it could be the people that spend the most with you and take up the least time. Focus on them, create your message for them, and work out your customer journey and what that looks like. Tighten up all those nuts and bolts and deliver your message directly to that group first. And that's where you start to make it simple.
Okay. So action point, consider your target audience group. Where are they most engaged? Can you focus your energy on that platform and reduce something else that you spend time on to maximize it? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So let me come to you then, John. We're processing and moving on, progressing through that funnel. We got Lucy widening our reach, moving us away from communities to audience. And Lydia is now telling us that we need to nurture them and build credibility through communications. What comes next? How do we get them to convert? That's what I'm interested in.
Yeah, I think there's no golden bullet. I think the most important thing is that we need to understand the reason for the inquiry in the first place. And to elaborate on the orange, I call it the Nike shoe. Nike as a brand can offer a multitude of things: trainers, sports equipment, bags, clothes. But at any one time, they're only showing you one advert of a pair of trainers, and that's to get you interested. Once you're interested in a pair of trainers, you either go to the store or you go online. You can then see the rest of the product range. So it's about understanding what method of marketing you're using and what audience is going to look at it to decide what your Nike shoe is in that moment, to generate the interest. Once you've generated the interest, it's about finding out, in my opinion, the 3 whys. The first why is why they're interested in what you do in the first place. What is it that you're promoting that means that they want to pick up the phone or send an email inquiry through to you? The second why is why you. What was it about you and your brand and your positioning that made them choose it was you they wanted to inquire with? The third why is why now. What made today the day that they made that inquiry? Because if you put those 3 things together, what you're going to find out is the reason behind why they want it. All the time they're telling you what their why is. Not only are they providing you with ammunition to help close the business later in the conversation, but they're reinforcing their own message to you. So I'm telling you why it is I want to buy from you. Then I'm going to tell you why it is I've chosen you as a person or brand to buy from. That can only enhance my feeling of importance in you as a company. And the why now creates the urgency. What is it about today that means you're interested in buying our product or service? Because that urgency then determines how much time I spend on you today or how I fulfill the brief further down the line. So the 3 whys for me is what helps to build conversion.
Okay, so if I got that right, why? The first why is the interest in what you do. Can you repeat that first one?
Yeah, the first why is the reason why they inquired in the first place. What is it that you've promoted that has made them unlock the door?
Okay, and then the second one is why you.
Why us? Yeah.
And then the third one is why now. Okay, so if we look at the second one, why you, that's a question for us to be able to define ourselves, our positioning in the market.
Yeah, if they ask us, but we want them to tell us why it's us that they've chosen.
So they get to answer that.
Absolutely. Is it a referral? Is it an advert they've seen? Was it an offer that you've promoted? Because all the time they're telling you the why you, that helps you to decide later on that actually they've chosen the right person. They've reinforced the message in themselves.
So somewhere in our magical funnels, we have to be able to capture that data. And I'm guessing so that we can go back and figure out why, and then do more of whatever that is.
Do more of that.
Okay. down to sales, conversions. This is all about making money. That's why we're in business, isn't it? So this question I think is to all of you. Where do you see the biggest disconnect between marketing and sales? And how can SMEs bridge the gap? There is a difference, isn't there, between marketing and sales? Because there are sales teams and the marketing team. Someone talks about it, someone actually does a transaction, if I'm correct. But for us as SMEs, we're the ones doing everything. So, bridge the gap.
So from my point of view, the first thing I do when I go into a business is I understand where they're leaking the opportunities. Are they maximising everything that these guys are sending to them? Because the biggest waste of time, money and effort is putting your money into the marketing, which does a great job, and then just not handling that inquiry properly. And one of the biggest battles you'll probably have with your marketing agencies is that you say they're sending you poor leads, and they say you're just not handling them properly. And unless you've got a process and a system that determines which one of those things is correct, you'll never know the answer. So the first thing we have to do is go back to basics and understand exactly what are we doing as a business to handle that inquiry from the point that somebody picks up the phone and says hello.
Yeah, definitely. I think we see it a lot. Businesses will come to us and say, we want you to drive more inquiries on our website, and that means to us we need more traffic. We can get the traffic there, but ultimately it starts with the website. If you are going to ask us to do your ads, we need to start before then. We need to start with what the website looks like. But before that, we need to understand, and you need to understand your audience, because it's all part of the journey. There's no point driving ads to a website if you're not going to be able to convert them when they land there. They're going to get a poor experience. You probably are going to bounce off to a competitor who's doing it better than you, and you've missed the opportunity. So it all starts at the beginning for me. It's all understanding what the goal is and what you're actually trying to achieve. And that's the disconnect between sales and marketing, is really aligning your activities back to your business goals.
So yeah, I have to agree with both of that. I just want to add a point about technology. How technology, especially AI, is getting much easier for everybody to use now. There's lots of training courses out there and that kind of thing. So essentially when it comes to websites and landing pages and that kind of thing, you build a landing page in like 2 minutes now. And as long as you've got the right messaging and you know exactly what to put on that landing page, you'll be able to create it really quickly and give it to Lydia, who will be able to make sure it's optimised properly, so that when you do run ads or something like that through to the landing page, it will convert properly. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of experience or a story of what we've been doing. So we've been driving a lot of traffic through to our website through different things. They could be things like guides that we give away to people, really good kind of like articles and that kind of thing that gets shown on AI search. So when people are like, ChatGPT, what's the best marketing conference in the UK to go to for social media? It always says Social Day now, so we've done a lot of work with that. So creating really good content is going to help you to get people to go onto your website through search and AI search and then trust you. But on that website it has to have the right information. Now we was also doing ads as well, and we were losing a lot of people from our webpage. Rather than them signing up to our thing called The Source and then going through our funnel into our event, they were just leaving the page. So we thought, what do? We create a pop-up that says, don't leave, join this, and then you get more of this excellent information. And our subs have gone up like tenfold in the last couple of months since doing that. And then what happens is they go into an email nurture sequence, so we nurture them, and it all happens automatically. Obviously you have to write that first, and then it goes through a sequence, through a funnel, and then as people do different things, it tags them and they go into a different funnel. It sounds complicated, right? But once you've done that, you do it once, and then it's one and done. It's done, and then you learn what's happening, and you tweak it from there. And I think that's one of the best things you can do to nurture an audience all the way through to a sale.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Email marketing is one of the best retention tools and one of the easiest to set up. Once you've done it and you get a flow of new people into your list, you can then nurture them, they come back to you, they refer people to you, and you can capture that data. As long as you keep it live and fresh, you're going to keep that data alive, and hopefully you'll push them through the funnel and convert them.
Let's just come back to earth.
It was exciting.
You're not speaking English. Come back. First of all, where am I going to get the data that I'm sending my emails to? So that's your question.
Top of the funnel.
Yeah.
Through your awareness channels,
Okay.
social media. So if you've got a link, say for example, let's make it really simple, you've got MailChimp. MailChimp gives you a link that you can add onto your website. It's a really simple way. Sign up to the newsletter. You'll probably have seen it on every website you go to. You can also share that through your social media channels, and you can promote it with leads. So people sign up to download something, you capture their data, and then they go into your funnel and you start to nurture them.
Also SEO, not just social media. SEO is really effective. So if you create the content that answers your customers' questions, and you write that content, and you then put that also write that content on guest posts as well. You create YouTube videos, because YouTube's a search engine as well, that answer those questions. Yes, there's effort involved, and if you keep testing, creating this content, and keep putting it out, make sure it's quality. Don't get ChatGPT to write your content, okay? Maybe it can give you some ideas, but you write the content, and then that content, if you actually, the AI tools will tell you what content you need to create in order for them to start mentioning you when people are asking what do I need, or what is the best product for this kind of thing. So if you create that content at the moment, that is really working. We're getting so many leads through on our website from search and AI summaries. So yeah, I think SEO or AEO.
Yeah, AEO.
It's really, really.
But what you've done really well, Lucy, is you are targeting a specific group, and that's what you need to do. Is because we can say all of that, but if you are talking to everybody that you could do through your marketing and not super targeted to that one group right now, it becomes a full-time job, and that it becomes overwhelming.
And talk to everyone, talk to no one.
Exactly, and you end up procrastinating and then freezing.
So let me get this right. I'm speaking on behalf of everyone here. Instead of thinking about what I do, my business, I now need to become a marketer, know how to do this stuff.
So I think to summarise,
Yeah.
it's what I'd say is you guys need to have a plan and a vision,
Okay.
and then you need to find the experts. And I think, whilst that's, but it's clear and obvious that people who know what they're talking about know what they're talking about.
Yes.
And I think we all do the jobs that we do because we're not that.
Yeah.
And I think what this just proves the point is that all you guys need to have is your brand, your vision, your idea, your audience, and let the rest of the guys do the work.
Yeah.
Because then you'll get the right type of inquiry, you'll get the right volume of inquiry. Then the easy bit, I say it's the easy bit, is you've got to get your teams to do the work with the conversions of the inquiries when they come in.
But if you're a startup and you've got no money, what do you do then? Because I remember when I first started, I didn't have anyone, I didn't have any money. I just had to really figure out how to do it first. So almost, I think it's yes, we need big professionals to help us, but we can't always afford professionals to help us. So what's the first step before hiring a professional to actually start getting those sales in, so we can make enough money or get the funding to then pay for somebody to do it for us?
And it's a really good point. I think there's lots of other forms of marketing which unfortunately don't go to digital or high expense. It depends on the product and service you offer. So your audience, your product, your service will vary depending on what that answer can give you. I think the best chance of success is to not try and do everything, as we spoke about. Not only the target audience, but the platforms you use. You've got to go where you're comfortable. And I think the worst thing you can do when you're starting out with no money is to try and do something you don't understand. So even seeking people within organisations for help and support is a start. And unfortunately, you're either going to have to be self-taught and understand it, but the world is moving at a fast pace.
Okay. So we need to figure out our target audience. Do you all know your target audience? Does anyone not know who their target audience is? If you don't know, it's okay. So we all know. So then we now need to feed AI. Please, what does AI eat? Because I need to know where to buy this food to feed AI. Because you keep talking about feeding it. What are you giving it?
Oh, so you're talking about AI search?
Yes, you referred to, you said AI knows who you are.
Oh, it's the same principles as with normal SEO, right? We want people to try and find us when they're searching for something or they're looking for something. And of course it works differently with social media as well. So now on social media, let's start with social media. Now, places like Instagram and LinkedIn, they are anything you put in there now appears in search as well, so in Google search. So you have to use the right keywords now. Don't worry about hashtags. Hashtags are gone. Does everybody know that?
I know.
Good. Hashtags are gone. It's keywords that you need to focus on now. So when you're writing all of your posts, when you're tagging all of your photos on your website, when you're writing your content for your website, everything needs to include the keywords that you want to be found for, but not in a spammy way. I know, like everything needs to include the keywords, but not in a spammy way. So if you're a personal brand, for example, you want to put your name and all the photos of you, make sure they're tagged properly, all the tags are right, and you're always like saying your name in your posts and that kind of thing. My name's Lucy Hall, and I teach people how to do this, that kind of thing. Because that's really important. There's lots of different signals that search uses. Now for the same with AI search. Okay, this is a massive hack. One of the biggest things that you can do right now is answer questions on Reddit about things about you and your business. So if you are if you're a carpet cleaner, for example, is anybody a carpet cleaner here? Someone give me a bit. You are! Oh my god, fantastic. So if you're a carpet cleaner, in Kent, you're a carpet cleaner in Kent?
Of course, yeah.
Excellent. So you've obviously probably answered all the questions that people want to know on your website. How do I, what's the best carpet cleaner in Kent? Like, who do I go to? How much does it cost? That kind of thing. People come to you, they find the information, and they're on your website, so they're likely to contact you. Yes?
Yes.
Somebody always answers the phone.
Yes.
Good. That's good. No leaks in the same channel. Someone always answers the phone. That's brilliant. So when people are on discussion boards like Quora and Reddit and that kind of thing, Reddit is the #1 thing that they're using for discussion at the moment. So you could even plant your own question in there. What's the best carpet cleaning company? And then you can start with the reply. Oh well, someone can ask me like the best carpet cleaning company is Carpet Cleaning Company Ken. And then when you see other people talking about it on Reddit, you're going to reply to those as well. The AI search engine, the AI uses this as a signal. The other thing is for search is also like answering the questions I told you about, writing articles on other people's blogs because it's still using that and it's pulling it, and getting people to mention you online, reviews, get people to say, oh, we just had the best carpet clean thing done, get them to post it out on social media. So the more signals AI can use to find you, the better chance you've got of showing up in those kind of conversational AI and in the AI summaries at the top of the web page. Does that make sense to everyone?
So do we need to have a Reddit account? Do you have to have an account for Reddit? Is that how it works?
Yeah, it's really easy to set up a Reddit account. Anyone can. You don't even have to put your own name on there. You can just be like XYZ44321.
Pull out your phones, open Reddit, log in, and start asking questions.
It's just replying to people's questions on there as well. Like, what's the best social media marketing event? I just social day. And now, hopefully, if you was like, what's the best social media event in the UK? I'm up with social day.
Okay. And how do you track? I can see this next. That's everyone on videos watching. How do you track your website with analytics? So you know, like you were saying, people are dropping off at some point. Therefore, you created a pop-up. How do you make that magic happen? How can I make that magic happen?
Easiest way is probably Google Analytics, and you have to put a bit of code on your website from Google Analytics, and then you can see everything that's happening. It is fairly simple to understand from a marketer's point of view.
Do we have Google Analytics?
If you have Google Analytics, if you don't, just start to use it and start to look at some of the simple metrics to see what's happening on your website. Engagement rate is a really important one. If people are coming and bouncing, so they're just going straight off, then we have a problem. We want to keep them on the website for as long as possible, and this is where you're looking into how they're in consideration phase on the funnel. So they're thinking about whether they're going to use you or a competitor. And we need to keep them on the site as long as possible to build up that brand loyalty and credibility. Trust signals are going to be the most important here. So what I said earlier about reviews, case studies, videos, content, articles, other people's articles, whatever you can to keep them on as long as possible and decide to use you. Just going back to the funnel, if you take a picture of that and go back again, thinking about that target audience, the orange, pick a segment, write it at the top, and then next to each of those parts of the funnel, write either a phrase or an activity, marketing activity that you will do that's going to help with that journey and pushing them through. What are you doing right at the bottom? How are you creating that? People come back to you or they refer. Do you have a referral channel? Do you have a loyalty scheme? Is that something you can introduce? And just think about that one audience and what you can do there to make it happen. And that will really simplify what you're doing, because if we do all of the Reddit stuff with our varied or kind of broad scope message, it might get lost. But if it's really targeted to that audience, it will land and you will get more conversions and it will start to feel like an easier process.
Let's take questions. So 1 there, yeah? 2, 3. Okay, we'll do these 3 first.
So my question is about alt text. So obviously with photos, putting alt text, particularly for people with sight problems and other disabilities. When you're putting it out there, sometimes it's a little bit more difficult because if you're scheduling it, it's not very easy to put the alt text on if you're scheduling ahead of time. But does the alt text help with those, the SEO and the AEO, have you found, or is alt text completely different?
Well, it's mostly for accessibility, and I think if the more accessible you are, the better it is for everybody anyway.
But if you're putting your keywords in that alt text, does that help?
I would put your keyword in there, but I would also ensure that it actually is just describing what the image is, because that's the most important thing. And also, I don't 100% know how it works with like accessible search either, but I imagine you want that to be coming up when somebody needs it rather than for the keyword. But labelling I should have said actually just labelling your photo properly, what it's called, is really important.
So you mean you're on your computer?
When you save a picture, for example, you want to save it with like your company keyword or whatever it is, like as the right thing. But for the alt text, it has to be what that is, because it's just important for accessibility. We don't want to leave anybody behind.
Yeah, also from a Google Lens perspective, and this, I kind of talk about this a lot with clients, when you're naming your photos, if somebody does a Google Lens on a competitor's item, so I had a client this week talk to me about, they do welfare units for construction sites, and there was a staircase, really interesting. And they took a photo of someone else's, and their product came up in the search because they'd used the alt text. So actually, from standing out from a competitor, it's a really simple way to kind of get some extra kind of search results from Google Lens, and lots of people are using it, and obviously for AI search as well.
Thank you. There's a second question. Yes.
Hi, just following on from something that Lucy had said about Reddit. Would Facebook work in a similar way? So we haven't spoken much about that. I know that maybe for the things the older generation now, I don't know. But if you join Facebook pages, this is something that I looked at that are relative to what's relevant to what you do, and then you comment on those, do you think that would work in the same way as Reddit?
Potentially, I think all social signals are really important for search now. Facebook is not quite as important as Reddit. We know that the especially ChatGPT, which is the main one that people use, I believe, that really does use signals from Reddit. I think they've got some sort of partnership or something like that. But anytime somebody's talking about you, anytime somebody's commenting, it will use those signals when it's trying to, figure out what is the best thing to mention to you, basically. So yes, I'd say it's still important, especially if you're using Facebook and that's your channel, but not quite as important as Reddit at the moment. And this could all change because we're in a very fast-moving time right now.
And sorry, just to add on quickly, I know this is mostly about digital marketing. Are we moving away from more face-to-face marketing? And I'm not talking about networking as such from a
because as like these kind of deep fakes and AI are starting to kind of come out, and more people, everybody sounds the same. You do not want to sound like everybody else. You want to be distinctive. You want to show that you are you and show your expertise. AI does not have that expertise. Nobody else has that. Nobody has your uniqueness. So please do be out there as yourself and use your face and your, use your face for your business. I think, especially if you're a consultant, you really need to do that. We're not going into faceless marketing. That's absolutely bull. I've seen it everywhere. Oh, I've got this faceless marketing thing. Yeah, it'd be nice if you just all not have to show up online, but you do. You have to.
You talked about the difference between the audience and the community. I think I want you to elaborate more on that. What's the difference? What's the strategy? What's the thinking behind each, and how do you leverage that?
I'll just really brief about this, okay? Because I think community and audience are two different things. So as a consumer or a person, we go through life and we need different things at different points in our life. So, for example, when I was a mum, I am a mum, but when I was a new mum, I needed new mum communities. I needed other people who got me and what I was doing. So these kind of mumpreneur business things, I really needed those at the time. And people, take the mick out of it, like, oh, mumpreneur, but actually, it is actually a thing. Like, I needed those people. But as I kind of changed in my career, and my children started getting older, I needed different things. One of the things I needed was Digital Women, which is a community of women who either they have businesses or they work in corporations and they need digital skills. So now I need this community because it helps me to grow within that. And I also need my local community online and Facebook to find out why the bins didn't get collected, right? We all need that. But we need different things at different, and now, soon I'm going to probably need in a few years I'll need a menopause community or something, because that's what we go through time, we need these different things, right? And so communities will happen anyway, whether your business is creating one or not. Now, I think the buzzword of community, that community is a buzzword at the moment, because everyone can see you need to build a community. Building a community happens irrelevant of your business, okay? So, as an SME, what we need to do is we need to sell products and make money. Building a community takes time, it takes effort, it takes nurture. I've been building communities for 10 years now. Digital Women is 7 years. I did not make any money from the community of Digital Women. I've had to fund the community so that I can keep people being educated at all times, so that I can keep them in a safe space. And at one point, after going for a couple of years, I charged them a subscription so that we could keep working on it, because otherwise I would have had to not do it anymore. It's a lot of work that goes into building a community, and people will decide whether they want to be in that community themselves. You can't make them be in the community. Whereas an audience, if you build an audience, you can just throw some ads at that, build an audience. It's much quicker, much cheaper, much easier. Your heart's not attached to it so much, which means that you can sell those people products and amazing, right? You can just sell them products. So community is something that happens irrelevant of your business. Audience are people who follow you because they want to buy something from you, and you can keep building that and building that and building that. And you can have both, but I just feel like if you want to build a community, it's a longer term thing, and it's something that's got to be something that your heart is really in.
Can I just add to that as well? Your audience is who's going to buy from you. Now, if we think about an audience and we call it over 40s women, they're one of the biggest groups that spend money. You need to be more specific than that. You really do. You need to break that audience down and really think about where they're hanging out, what they're enjoying, and there's going to be lots of different groups. I mean, over 40 women could be your whole orange. And now let's break it down a little bit further than that. Be super specific, and then you will start to really get under their skin and get some transaction out of them.
Okay. Any more questions?
Hi, my name is Francis. Thank you very much for your time today, for all the enlightenment you've given us. You mentioned something about sales and marketing, and then you said it's best to leave it to a professional. And I want to resonate with what you said about, as a startup that doesn't have the finances to go on about hiring experts, how do you go about it? And why I do that is because there's a book I read that says the 3 most important things for a business owner, for an entrepreneur, is sales, knowing how to sell, knowing how to market, and your branding. So how can you align these both viewpoints?
So I suppose the difficulty comes by people's abilities and capabilities. So everybody that starts a business is unique. You know, they have stuff they're good at, they have stuff they're not so good at. Is the business driven out of a passion? Is it driven out of a business opportunity? And knowing who somebody is at their core can answer that question in full. I know that if I was going to start a business today and I had to go online to try and find out how to market things like these guys do, I'd be lost. So as much as the communities exist, as much as the online training exists, as much as there's free advice out there for me, I would have to bide my time until I was able to find somebody that could do it for me. That's me. If I work with, so I do work with people that are very good at understanding and learning things and being able to adapt and follow that through. So for them, probably the speed in which they can now transact is quicker than somebody like myself. Because they would be able to go onto online platforms that exist, and be able to go onto forums and ask advice and CRM systems that have videos that can help them and understand it. So it's a bit of a wishy-washy answer, but the fact of the matter is it goes down to the person and individual that's starting that business and what they're capable of. Sometimes we have to be patient and understand that our capability is in the product and the service that we offer, and we will get there. And other times, if we're able to learn and understand, then we can get going much quicker. Ultimately, if you come to events like this and you join networking groups and you find people that are willing to offer support, you know, I would say that most people in this room would offer support to anybody to come and ask them a question without charge. Of course, there's a limit of being able to offer what you can do. There's a business at the end of it, right? But you'll be able to get some advice. Surround yourself with good people, know what your capabilities are, and focus on your end goal. And at some point, the time will be right.
Amen to that. Yeah.
It's a good way to wrap it up, because essentially, I know, you know, from my panelists here, they have the freemiums and then the premiums, isn't it? So there are avenues through which they offer what they're doing, you know, webinars and YouTube channels and free this and free that. If you know you don't have the ability yet to pay for their service, tap into what they're offering. You know, it could be them, it could be anybody else, but tap into the freebies, like this session you've had now. You know, you tap into it, learn from it, and actually action what you've learned. Because you can make notes, you can write it down, and if you don't actually go away and go onto Reddit and create an account and answer those questions, you know, the knowledge is wasted on you. So learn, but action the learning. And until such a time as that learning then creates the profits that we're all looking for, then you can afford to bring in the experts to then grow exponentially.
Also, there's a huge amount of value before you outsource anything in knowing what somebody's going to do.
Yeah.
And when you're briefing them as to what you need and what goals you have around it, it's much easier to outsource something then. So giving it a good crack yourself is not a bad thing.
Yeah, I was going to say that too. I really wanted to say that. I was like, please somebody say that. Because if you can brief someone on something, you have to know like what you want. And one of the biggest problems that you probably have is people come to you and go, I don't know what I want, I don't know what I need. If someone just said, I'm targeting this person, this is my messaging, this is what I'm doing, you're like, bang, let's go, right?
Exactly that.
Any final closing points before we wrap up?
Just give it a try. Use AI as well. There's a lot. If you start talking to AI like Claude and that kind of thing, it will help you with plans, your early plans, and it's taking the inspiration from the whole internet. So, you know, some of it's going to be right? Give it a go.
Yeah, give it a good crack, and then come and find some expert help. There's like Beston said, we've all got free resources, and we all do a consultation, or have access to communities. So yeah, definitely just reach out and join in with those and make the most of it.
Yeah. Thank you. John?
For me, understand what the holes are in your bucket. I think, you know what's coming in and start to understand where it's falling out, and that's where you should be.